Hello, and welcome to Pandora's All Signs Horoscope. I'm Jamie Kale Miller of Pandora Astrology. In this horoscope, you'll learn how the movements of the planets affect your sun sign this month. And if your birth date is listed anywhere in this horoscope, you're definitely having a transit to your sun. I'll tell you how to take advantage of that transit, how to cope with it if it's hard, and how to squeeze all the juice out of it if it's a nice one. This month, there are four main things happening. I'm going to tell you about Saturn and Jupiter because they are forming a square this month, and if you're feeling one, you're undoubtedly feeling the other. Ceres has been retrograde since May and is going direct now, finally. Mercury is going retrograde this month, early in the month, and then going direct at the end of the month, so it's all happening inside of August. And there's a full moon in Aquarius coming up at the end of the month, which is really stubborn, and I think you're going to want to know about it. So Saturn this month is traveling through Pisces, as Saturn has been doing since last year. Saturn is now retrograde, so bringing us deeper into the lessons that Saturn wants to teach us. Saturn's going to begin transiting out of Pisces and into Aries next year. So Saturn is always teaching us hard lessons. That's just pretty much how it is with Saturn. We've got to become more disciplined, apply more structure, take ourselves seriously, take our situation more seriously whenever Saturn comes into play. But in particular, because Saturn is traveling through Pisces, these lessons are lessons around compassion and empathy. So we're being asked to be more flexible and understanding, but also at the same time being tested on our ability to maintain healthy boundaries, which Pisces is not good at. So it's going to be all about finding the balancing act between how can you vibe with people and feel empathy for people and have compassion for people while also not letting them drain you dry. And that's the work of Saturn and Pisces. So, if you're having this Saturn transit, how does it feel? Well, it feels serious. It feels heavy. You feel burdened, obligated. You feel under pressure to perform to a new and higher standard. And that's very, very Saturn, the disciplinarian of the zodiac. You feel that your reputation is very much at stake. And you may also feel inadequate to face what's in front of you. Like you just don't have what it takes. You don't have the chops. You might feel a deep fear of failing, and you might even feel a free floating fear for no apparent reason at all. So, how do you handle a Saturn transit? You turn the fear into ambition. You take responsibility. You do the hard thing. And you do the hard thing first instead of procrastinating it. You shape your fear into a goal that can be achieved, and then you set to work and you roll up your sleeves and you work at that thing until you've achieved it. And this is what Saturn does. Saturn gives us the gift of skill that we have to work and earn. And I think Saturn's better than Jupiter, which I'll be talking about very shortly. Everybody loves Jupiter, but I'm a real fan of Saturn, actually. So let's take a look at the birth dates who are having this Saturn transit this month. So if you have one of these birthdays, Saturn is transiting your sun. If you were born March 6th to the 9th in Pisces, a Gemini born June 6th to the 9th, a Virgo born in September the 8th through the 11th, and a Sagittarius born December 7th through the 10th, then you are feeling this transit quite intensely this month. Most especially, birthdays listed in the beginning of the date range will feel Saturn's influence at the end of the month. This is because Saturn is traveling retrograde. So you'll feel this backwards. So if you were born March 6th, then you're going to feel Saturn's influence the most potently in the last third of the month, while birthdays listed at the end of the date range, like March 9th, will feel Saturn's influence at the beginning of the month. Also, you would have felt something very much like this earlier in the year, and Saturn will give you a third pass later in the year. So Jupiter is the planet of growth and opportunity, and everybody loves Jupiter because Jupiter is so expansive, so fun-loving, so playful, and brings, opportunities and just makes things so easy. It's like Jupiter is Santa Claus who arrives to bring you presents, and you didn't even have to do anything at all for that. So everybody loves Jupiter, but Jupiter isn't, around all the time. So Jupiter spends the whole month in Gemini, is really in Gemini for the year, is moving in a forward direction and quickly. We call that direct motion, by the way. It's the opposite of retrograde. So Jupiter is moving fast and is going to cover quite a few degrees this month. And so a lot of people in the mutable signs are going to get to feel this. And Jupiter is going to remain in Gemini until the summer of 2025. So what does that mean for the world? Jupiter brings confidence and growth wherever he goes, and he spends about a year, maybe a year and a month in each sign. This is a wonderful transit for all the mutable signs who will definitely be feeling this at some point during Jupiter's transit along the sign of Gemini. And I'll be showing you the birthdays for that in a moment for this month. If you're having a Jupiter transit, it feels so expansive. You feel confident. You feel more adventurous. You're willing to step out and try things. You're feeling exploratory. You're feeling hopeful and excited about all the possibilities. Like there are broad vistas and far horizons, and you just want to get on the open road. So Jupiter brings these wonderful feels, and you can find yourself drawing opportunities and having lucky things happen to you. And growth is easy and fun during a Jupiter transit. So how do you handle it? Well, first of all, you enjoy it, that's for sure. But then you got to jump in and do something about it. Instead of just, like allowing these nice things to come to you, you've got to do something about it. You've got to take action on the opportunities that are around you, and you do have to spot them too. So it's important to pursue what you're the most enthusiastic about, and then other people will follow. They'll support you, they'll get in line behind you, and they'll bring you more opportunities. And then you want to grab those opportunities and act on them while this transit is active. This is a harvest time for you. Don't let it pass without getting something good out of it. So I promised you the birth dates for the Jupiter transit people this month, and here they are. The birthdays listed here will line up directly with the days of August, with the birthdays at the beginning of a date range feeling it first, and the birth dates at the end of a date range feeling it last. For example, if you are a Gemini and you were born on June 4th or 5th, then you will feel this transit in the first third of the month. If you are a Virgo born at the end of this span, around September 10th or 11th, then you'll feel this transit in the final third of the month. And Sagittarians born December 5th to 10th will feel this transit. Pisceans born March 4th to 9th will feel this transit in pretty much the same pattern. So let's talk about Ceres. Ceres is up to some interesting stuff right now. Ceres is the asteroid goddess of financial and physical stewardship, which means caretaking of your life in a very physical and practical way, taking care of your body, taking care of how you eat, how you run your health routines, and also taking care of your money and how you run your finances. That's what Ceres is in charge of. What is Ceres doing this month? Ceres is spending the whole month in Capricorn and is traveling retrograde. Ceres has already been retrograde for a couple of months and is going to turn direct later this month on August 26th. So if you've been feeling under some financial pressure for the last couple of months, then Ceres is probably transiting your chart. So what does this mean for the world? Well, when Ceres goes retrograde, she throws us into a financial retrospection period when we want to introspect and retrospect regarding all of those things that I talked about, not just money, but you might find yourself facing a health concern that actually has been around for a while, but is just kind of hit the surface right now during this Ceres retrograde and is reminding you that you need to take better care of your body. This is especially possible because this all signs horoscope is really targeting transits to the sun. And when Ceres retrograde transits your sun, you can feel like your vitality isn't what it should be, or you can feel like your financial reputation is not what it should be, or like your word of honor is not very good financially. And that when you make people promises financially, that you want, your word of honor to be worth something. So this financial and physical retrospection and introspection period that Ceres has been involved in for several months now, since May, really, is going to come to a close on the day that Ceres goes direct, which is August 26th. However, then we enter into something called the shadow period. And the shadow period is the time after a planet goes direct while it's still moving slowly. And Ceres is not going to really finish this influence until Ceres actually leaves the span of Capricorn that she retrograded through. And that happens on November 11th. So you may continue to feel like this transit has some effect all the way through September and into October and up to November 11th, when you can get some closure with it. So if you're having a Ceres transit, how does that feel? Well, you might be really worrying about your finances, your health, your eating, your vitality, especially. You might have some body image issues during this transit. That can definitely come up during a Ceres transit. You might be wondering whether your fitness, as it shows on you physically, is an expression of who you really are on the inside, and you might want to square that up. So how do you handle a Ceres transit? Well, obviously, you've got to attend to these things. Ceres is the steward. You need to engage in good stewardship of your physical, practical life. That means get into integrity with your physical and financial self. That means assert your worth. And when you feel the truth of it inside, others will see it on the outside. So what I mean is square up what you're feeling about the value you bring to the world and the behavior that you do about that in the world. And then other people will see it. So if your self-worth is not being reflected in your finances, it can be. And if your self-worth is being reflected in your finances and you wish it wasn't, this can be a time when you square that too. So who is having a Ceres transit this month to your sun? Well, here are the birthdays. This would be Capricorns, born December 28th to the 31st. People born in Aries, March 27th to the 30th. And Cancers, June 28th to July 1st. And Librans, born September 29th to October 2nd. Now, I want to say that birth dates, because Ceres is retrograde, birth dates listed in the beginning of the date range will feel Ceres influence at the end of the month, while birthdays listed at the end of the date range will feel Ceres influence at the beginning of the month. For example, a Cancer born June 28th or 29th is going to feel this at the end of this month, August, in about the last third of August, whereas a Libra born October 1st or 2nd is going to feel this early in the month for about the first third or half of the month. So now let's talk about Mercury. Mercury is the planet of efficiency and also mental acuity. Mercury rules two signs. One of them is Gemini and the other is Virgo. Gemini is the side of Mercury that is all about abstract thought and loves communication and ideas. So when Mercury is retrograde, and because Mercury has this Gemini nature, that means that communications can go awry, or your thought process gets derailed more easily. Now, because Mercury has this Virgo side, there is a practical side to Mercury. And this is why you may have heard that when Mercury goes retrograde, sometimes physical equipment, especially office equipment, can break down or just get all messed up. So Mercury retrograde is famous for, the fax machine just broke, or the printer broke, or I lost my messages because I hit the wrong button. So Mercury is going retrograde on August 4th, having started the month in Virgo. its own sign where Mercury generally is strong and loves to be. But when retrograde, not so much. And then after August 4th, Mercury travels backward all the way into Leo and then finally goes direct August 28th. So, you know the drill. Mercury retrograde is super frustrating and it can lead to those communication issues, those logistical issues, or both. Definitely expect to have to express yourself, more than once. And it can absolutely happen that two people can come away from the same conversation, both thinking that they understand, but not at all in agreement about what actually happened there. So be careful about misspeaking and make sure that you're being heard and make sure that you're hearing the other person. So you might want to feed back what they said to them so that they know you got it and you know you got it. And you might have to do an extra dollop of that this month. So it's really, really important to have patience during a Mercury retrograde period. Also, knowing it's coming is half the battle. So hopefully you're forearming yourself right now. And it's really important to be patient with yourself and with other people during Mercury retrograde and also at the beginning before Mercury goes retrograde. So even in those first 3 or 4 days of the month, you should be patient because Mercury is already slowing down. And even at the end of the month after August 28th, when Mercury is direct and starting to speed up, it's still going slowly. So just basically all of August, have patience, take it slow, be thorough with all tasks and communications, and be prepared to have to do things more than once in order to have the effect that you want. So here are the birth dates. Mercury is retrograde technically from August 4th to 28th, but effectively all month. And these birth dates will be feeling it. Leos and Virgos born August 13th to 27th. So that's the last third of Leo, approximately, and a bit at the beginning of Virgo. Scorps and Sagittarius born November 12 to 26. Aquarians and Pisceans born the 9th to the 23rd of February. And Tauruses to Geminis born May 11th to the 25th. Now, because Mercury is traveling backwards or retrograde, birthdays listed at the beginning of the date range will feel Mercury's influence at the end of the month. And the reverse is also true. Birthdays listed at the end of the date range will feel Mercury's influence at the beginning of the month. So this is kind of like a little cheat so that if you were born, February 9th or 10th or 11th, then you're going to feel this transit mainly in the last week of the month. Okay, we've come to the final topic in this horoscope. It's the full moon in Aquarius coming up on August 19th. This is a full moon, which means that the sun and the moon are opposite to each other. The moon is in Aquarius and the sun is in Leo. And it being a full moon, that means that it's brimming over with emotion, a passion-filled moon. And add to that the involvement of Uranus in this moon, which is definitely there, and you've got a recipe for the unexpected. Uranus's agenda really is to bring sudden shifts and radical change. And in Taurus, Uranus really struggles to do that effectively in the way that it likes to do. While in Taurus, Uranus is impacting some of the Taurus areas of life, which is to say the simple things, the simple pleasures, and the simple needs of life, food, body, and money. So Uranus is very busy bringing changes in all these areas. And you may wonder, what does this mean? Well, basically, your whole concept of who you are as a person can go through a radical shift. You can feel like, wow, I thought I knew who I was, but now I'm really not so sure. Now maybe I'm somebody else. It is a conceptual shift. This transit can really put you in your head and also can make you seem remote and cold to other people as you undergo some experiments about being a self, experiments in who are you really. So this can bring on some feelings of agitation. You can feel nervous, twitchy, electric, even rebellious, reactive, as if you're itching for a change, any change, just so that you can sort of shake things up. This moon actually forms a grand cross, sun and moon opposite to each other, Mercury and Vesta joining the sun in opposing the moon. And then there is a square to Uranus, which opposes Pallas Athena. So we have a lot of things involved here, 6 things involved here. And so it's really great that Chiron has jumped into the mix and is helping and supporting the moon from its position in Aries. Now, I know all that was pretty complicated and filled with astrobabble, so let me kind of bring it into focus for you. Because Uranus is involved with this moon, there is going to be a lot of agitation, a note of rebellion, of reactivity, and that can come out very emotionally during a full moon. Full moons are inherently relational, which means that we have a tendency to play them out in our partnerships. Quite often, you might find yourself taking the role of one end of the polarity and projecting the other role onto your partner. So you might find yourself taking on the role of the very remote and distant and emotionally cool moon in Aquarius, who is trying to bring some logic into the situation. And you might find yourself arguing with a very heated Leo person, Leo flavored person in that moment, who is more exemplifying that sun in Leo with Mercury and Vesta and is arguing very hotly with you. This full moon in this grand cross in fixed signs could definitely lead to some conflicts filled with themes of domination, rebellion, reactivity, and stubbornness. So watch out for that. And if you don't want to have an argument during this moon, maybe you should keep your mouth zipped. So if you're influenced by this full moon, how does it feel? Well, like I said, full moons can be really, really polarizing, and you might find yourself playing one role or the other. You might be taking on the role of the Leo side of it, trying to impose your will or follow through on something you feel really strongly about, and then somebody may be pushing back against that, maybe arguing with it from a perspective that sounds really logical, but maybe is more rationalized. So you got to watch for the effects of this full moon in your relationships of all kinds. It might be your spouse, your business colleague, or your best friend. You can definitely get into an argument during a moon like this. And beware of occupying one side of this dilemma and projecting the other side onto another person, or slipping into a role that the other person has assigned to you. Don't get over emotional during this moon. And remember, it's just going to be it's just a 3-day thing. So you can avoid, the troubles associated with this. Look for resolutions to the dilemma and be a partner to your partner in solving the dilemma that this moon presents. So who is feeling this moon? The birthdays impacted would be a 10-day span centering on August 19th, which is to say people born in late Leo, people born in late Scorpio around November 19th, people born around February 15th, people born around May 18th, so that's Aquariuses and Taurians as well, and then people born in a 10-day span surrounding these birth dates are going to feel this moon. Now, there is some special harmony for some Aries folks who are having a Chiron transit this year. So notice that these Aries folks having a Chiron transit get some benefit from this new moon. So if your birthday appears here, you were born April 16th to 17th. I know that's really just a few dates, but you are also having a Chiron transit this month. And if that's true, this moon can help you to cope with it and get the best out of it. This could be the occasion in which you assert yourself and a powerful healing happens for you. How good is that? This moon could actually really help you with that healing journey that you're on. So this moon is going to be in play for the 3-day period surrounding August 19th. And so based on that, You might really want to avoid argumentative situations during August 18th, 19th, and 20th. Or if you're in Aries, maybe you even want to seek them out, believe it or not. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed Pandora's All Signs horoscope. If you got a zinger out of this, please tell me about it in the comments below. Please like this video and share it with all your friends. And until next time, I'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.